It's Biohatchet here. Hopefully everybody's doing good today. So, I was strolling through the PlayStation Store and stuff, and ended up coming across this game. It is a Battle Royale game. Um, you can do solo and trios at the moment. I just want to let everybody know that I am playing at 30 FPS, and it is quality mode. Now, the reason for that is because I tried turning it on performance mode, and it does turn off the ray tracing, because I'm pretty sure it has ray traced reflections in it. Because um, when I turned it to performance mode, it's like I couldn't see like when it was like in the match itself. I can't see like if I look at the ground, I can't see none of the reflections. Um, Now, if it was screen space reflections or screen space anything like that, um, basically, it realistically, I think it would still be able to do it at 60 FPS, you know? But there's a couple reasons why I would rather do um, the quality mode over the performance mode. So, a couple of the reasons, the two main reasons, is well, one, it is a native 4K image, which is going to give you the best clarity, which is going to give you the best visual, which means that you're going to be able to actually see the best. And then, on top of that, you also get the ray traced reflections and stuff. And I'm pretty sure it's ray traced. Um, so you get that. Now, if you do performance mode, it does do 60 FPS, but there's a couple catches. It does away with what seems to be the ray traced reflections, and it also knocks the resolution down to 1440p. Okay, so if you are on a 4K monitor or 4K TV, well, I would probably recommend the 4K 30 FPS with the ray traced reflections, is what it seems like, over the performance mode. Even though you do get 60 FPS, you also get a drop in resolution, and you get a drop in the fact that it's like the ray traced reflections are just gone basically. Um, Now the main reason why I would rather do 4K at 30 FPS in quality mode with the ray traced reflections is because, well, there's a couple of reasons behind that. Like I said, you get the resolution, which means you can see the best. So that means if you're trying to spot somebody from a distance, if you're on a 4K TV, it's going to be, or monitor, it is going to be a lot easier to spot that person if it's in 4K, because you're going to get the best clarity. And the second thing, with the what seems to be ray traced reflections, the other thing that you get is, well, if somebody's trying to sneak up on you, yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the ground and you see a freaking, reflection of a person sneaking up behind you, that's going to save you, you know, probably before the 60 FPS would be. And the reason why I say that is because, well, yeah, 60 FPS is sort of better in certain ways. But if you stop and think about it, if there is no ray traced reflections and it's doing 60 FPS, you're not going to know that somebody's sneaking up behind you,
Look at you.
because you can't see that reflection. Or, yeah, basically. So, yeah. And if you can't see that reflection, well, that could have saved you. But if you can't see it, it's clearly not going to save you. Now, if you're playing like on a 1080p monitor or TV, because I think 1080p would be the best if you're going to go for anything performance. The reason why is because it'll give you the best picture. The reason why it'll give you the best picture is because, well, even if it's 1440p, it'll downscale, okay, to 1080p, right? So it'll still give you a better looking image than just regular 1080p, native 1080p actually. But the reason why I recommend, if you do performance modes and that's what you prefer, and you know you don't like to have the ray traced anything, or if it does have like a ray traced performance mode, which still isn't quite as good as the regular, 4K 30 FPS with ray tracing, because I've checked out on a few different games, and yeah, no, it isn't that great when it comes to, if you do the ray trace performance mode. It's usually not that great because the ray tracing is not that good, like ever, from what I've been able to tell. But the thing is the reason why I would recommend 1080p is because if you are that type of person that don't care about, ray traced anything, and you would rather do performance mode at 60 FPS, well, here's the thing. Take a game like Star Wars The Fallen Jedi. It runs at 1200p, okay? So if it runs at 1200p, or somewhere near it, it'll downscale to 1080p. But if you have like a 1440p monitor, basically monitor, because I don't think they make 1440p TVs. But the thing is, though, the TV that I have is capable of 1440p, so it does have that resolution on this TV. But the thing is anyways, if you have a 1440p monitor or a TV that's capable of 1440p, but we're going to stick with the 1440p monitor because it's native 1440p. You're probably not going to find a native 1440p TV. But anyways, with a native 1440p monitor, it would have to upscale that to 1440p. So in the long run, it might be slightly blurry. And then, you might get some artifacts or this or that. But if you have 1080p monitor or TV, well, the 1200p is going to downscale. So it's still going to give you a slightly better looking image than just native 1080p. And, you still get, the performance and all that stuff. But to show you, though, graphics, you can see there's quality and then performance. But even if you change that back and forth, this really doesn't change. I don't know why they have that image there. Because as you can see, like, it doesn't change. And when you apply this, if you apply the performance mode and then go back into it, it says quality at that point. So technically it basically just defaults back to quality. So when you back out, you'll either have to basically not accept it, not apply it, or you'd have to apply it. But if you don't apply it, then it'll most likely be performance. Anyways, we'll go ahead and get into the game. But real quick, I just wanted to mention this game apparently just came out yesterday, so and it is free, but there's a catch. It's only on PS5 and Microsoft Windows. Now, I think this is pretty cool that you can select your location, but Now, I do like going with these two, because it's just basically male, female. But, the thing about these two, the first special that they have is basically the same. So, basically what happens, and I'll show you, they sort of go invisible, and then they, like, you know, zip around for a second, and then, you know, pretty much that, basically. Give me a second, I need to do something real quick. Just real fast, give me just a second. Okay. Okay, give me 1 second, I'm almost done, I'm just doing a couple things real fast. Okay. There we go. Okay, and let me fix this. There we go. Okay, now we're ready. That's not a... Oh! I haven't played a whole lot of this game yet. I've only played like 2 or 3 matches. Funny thing though. The NPCs that do have weapons, they will BM you. Because you do get knocked on here, and they will BM you. I'm not joking. She just got her blood sucked, it looks like. Oh yeah, and then they got this. Now I want to show you what I was talking about with the ray trace thing, if I can go out in the actual streets. Oh.
Attention back, buddy.
As you can see, there you go. All of that right there. You can see like the buildings and stuff. See the lights, everything. Same with over here. So, you know, you can use stuff like that to your advantage, which is why I prefer the 4K 30 FPS because, well, I mean, you do get the native 4K, which gives you the best clarity, plus it gives you the ray tracing, which I'm pretty sure is what that is. Either that or it's extremely good screen space. Screen space reflections, but if it was screen space reflections, they do turn off if you do performance mode, so but you know what, the couple games that I've played, no, I haven't won yet, but I like this game. I do. I'm a big fan of vampires. I love vampires. You know, I'm talking like the Lost Boys sort of type of vampires, not, yeah, not the other one, or John Carpenter's vampires, you know, stuff like that, those type of vampires, you know. I mean, they don't have to be evil or anything, it's just, what in the world? Okay, how did he see me? Anyways, though, yeah. Anyways, though, yeah. Like I said, they don't have to be evil or anything like that. But comparing it to, you know, Twilight, I like my actual vampires. I don't like the. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with the Twilight movies or anything. It's just. Because I do like the Twilight movies and stuff, but the thing about it is, though, is the fact that they're not the same type of vampires. So, yeah. Hey! I don't know how they keep noticing me. They either need to fix that partial freaking invisibility crap or something, because, you know, the fact that people can still notice you just like insanely easy is just crazy. I mean, what's the point of going partially invisible if, you know, it doesn't technically work? You know, because it's like the whole point of it is so they have trouble seeing you. Either these people are cheating, or yeah, no, the partial crap just don't work very well, and they could just see me clear as day. It's one of the two. Or they could have done this too, though. That might work. I don't know. It's possible that that would work, but I don't think every person is going to be able to remember that every single time they want to try to see an invisible person. You know what I mean? So there is that. No friggin' armor. I do love the armor animation that they have on here. Need to find some friggin' armor. What bag? Thank you. Ooh, thank you. Welcome to the stream. Let's take in the circle out of the gas. But, you know, if you guys would like to see it in 60 FPS, I could always do that too. Just to show you guys, like, hey, look, this is what it's like in 60 FPS. But for you guys, you may not see much of a difference when it comes to clarity because, well, can only broadcast at 1080p 60 or 1080p 30. So it would just basically downscale the 1440p to 1080p, and you know, you wouldn't see the ray trace reflections like that. Because I'm pretty sure it's ray traced. Either that's ray traced or, like I said before, extremely good freaking screen space. But the way it looks, though, I want to assume that it's ray traced. And on top of that, I mean, when you do performance mode, it does do away with it, which seems kind of odd if it was screen spaced. Go around this way. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you could even do that. Oh my god. I don't know if that has like a specific timer or if it just starts whenever the red mist hits you. The red gas. Not red mist, but red gas. Nothing over here. I don't know if that really does anything other than oh. Oh snap. What? I'm invisible, dude. Okay. Whatever. Come on. Respawn me. You do get one life on here. Like, well, two technically. You get the first one that you started with, and then you get the second one after somebody does kill you. You can respawn, so they do give you a pretty decent weapon, so it's not too bad. Yeah. Hallelujah. Get me out of here. I don't have a blood bag or anything. Got it. Bye, Felicia. Wow. Okay, so dude can turn super fast. He can hit every single shot without ever missing. Yeah, I think there's something weird going on with that guy. I mean, clearly. Doesn't miss. Super quick to turn and everything. I mean, it's like, dude, how? Okay, let me try something. See, that's on 3-2, but let me try. And the rest of it, I think I can keep everything at default. Other than that, I'm glad you can't change the dead zones. It's one thing I wish they would have never freaking added into these games. Changing the dead zones. I think if you spectate until the end, you can actually go to the next match. But if you try to go to the next match right now, you'd have to back out and then go into the next match. Which I like because, you know, it's like, well, it sort of encourages people to, that guy must have heard me when I was talking about him, about being weird and stuff. Like there's something really weird going on with him and everything. I think he heard me. I think you can actually hear each other in there, to be honest. But yeah, see, as you can see right there, I can just queue up right there. But yeah, no, there was definitely something funny about that guy. I mean, and then he stops, and then magically he just goes bot mode. Really? Yeah, no. Pretty sure something was going on with that guy. I mean, nobody sits there and, oh, dude, there's something weird going on with this person. Oh, crap, he knows there's something going on. I gotta stop and then go bot mode. Come on now, really? Like, even when the one guy jumped, dude couldn't hit nothing. Oh, but if I'm invisible doing this, that, and the other, you can hit every single shot without ever missing. Okay. That totally makes sense. So yeah, there's definitely something odd going on with that fella. I know there's a lot of people that's all like, oh no, this person's not cheating, that person's not cheating. Oh, okay. So explain to me why there's so many people getting banned off of these games then if they're not cheating. I'll wait. Still waiting. People get banned a lot off of all of these games because they keep cheating. Okay. Just pointing out the obvious, but yeah, no. People don't get banned for cheating if they're not cheating. Not normally. Every once in a while, they might screw up and ban somebody for that, but that's not something that normally happens. What'd you say? I feel like I should be at like 4.5 maybe. Give it a shot. Daggone. I might actually try. You know what? I don't know. I'll give it a shot. Why won't it let me pick that up? Strange. Will not let me pick that up. Oh yeah, see, watch this. Frickin' NPC, dude. Like, that's crazy. That is freaking crazy that the NPCs actually BM you. What? You can't shoot through crap on here. Just pointing out the obvious. I need to get that fixed. Let me try. Let me reset this real quick. So that's on 3, so we need to go to 4.5. 4.5. Let me see. Hang on. I screwed up. Okay, so 3. Let's see. 2.5, 4, 4.5. So 3, 4.5. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It should be 3.5. Yeah. Just trying to make sure that it's all correct right there. What? Let me see. Let me see if I can't just back out, go into another one. Oh yeah, I can. Okay. So actually, you can do that. I must have just not noticed it the first time or two. Like I said, I've never played this game. It just came out yesterday, and so on and so on. So I mean, apparently you can do that. I just thought, you know, since it said leave, you know, like to back out of the game, I didn't think that it would just take you to that screen. Because I haven't really, I mean, I think I've done it once, but I went back to like the, like I don't think I pressed anything, and I went back to the, basically the castle, the castle basically. But the thing is, when you start this game, you pretty much get put into that castle, so, which is why when I started this stream that I was already in the castle, because well, basically that's the main menu. There's not really a main menu other than that, and the fact that you could change like game modes. So yeah, that's sort of how that one works. Okay, you know, I'm gonna do right here again because it looks like there's a gun store. I don't think I've ever actually walked into very many of these stores. Oh yeah, see, now that feels better. Oh yeah, the store's back here, isn't it? Oh, snap. That little freaking turd. Oh, he took it. What a bugger. Dude, how are you still hitting me? Hey, anybody notice that? Like, there's no way he could have did that. I mean, you seen how fast I was moving, and I was invisible. Like, okay, it's visible, moving extremely quick, but somehow he hits every shot on that. Whatever. Ooh. Yeah. Game comes out yesterday and there's already freaking cheaters on it today. That's just insane. Actually, I gotta go back this way, don't I? Ah, dang it. I think I see what's going on with that one. Okay, so I need to... bump those up one. Wow. Oh, wow. Uh-huh. Curve. crap. No! Dang it. Nope. So I'm gonna try something though. Try a different character with a different special. I feel like I need to be just a tad faster on the turning and stuff, but just a tad though. I'm gonna try to go up one notch on each one, and if that's too much, then I'll just knock it back down a notch. But I'll try that. I wonder why the mic is muted on there for. Seems kind of odd. Unless I gotta go to the audio settings and turn it on or something. Some games are set up like that. Oh look. Oh look, just while I'm doing the whole control thing. Knock up notch, knock up one notch, knock up one notch. I don't know what to knock those up to. Those are just multipliers. Yeah, voice chat is enabled. Ah, crap. My guns and everything, didn't you? What the? How did he catch up to me so easy? And so fast. I mean, I even used my special to go way further ahead. And that's not even the same type of character either. What is it? No, let's see. We'll find out. I don't think it is. Could be, but I don't think it is. I think this is probably going to be better. Maybe. I've tried it a couple times. Oh, just so everybody knows, there's no actual sprint button, so, you know, when they just magically run insanely faster, there's something funny going on. You know, and I don't mean like if they use a special and then do it, no. If they use a special and then magically they're faster, yeah, but if they're just running and it just magically just like, oh my goodness, how are you that much faster all of a sudden, you know? Yeah, no, there's definitely something going on at that point. Waiting on that person to get up so they can kill him. Look at that. That ain't even right. That's just messed up. That ain't even right. That ain't. I don't know why it says it's on mute for. And welcome to the stream. Ah! That got it. I love how when you do your special, they can hit, some of these people can still hit like every single shot, but when they do theirs, it's like, dude, I can't even see you, or I can't touch you, and nothing, like I can't hit you with any of these bullets or anything, like, okay. But somehow that makes sense. But there's going to be a lot of people out there being like, oh no, but they're not cheating though. The game just came out. Wow. Because she just knows exactly where I'm at every time. I would like to keep an eye on this person just to see, because I think there's something really odd going on with this person. Was there some sort of glitch that we don't know about or something? Is that why she keeps going and starting to suck people's blood for a certain amount of time and then just stop? Because the thing is, you don't get your health back until after the person's had their blood sucked all the way. She got knocked super easy. What the heck? Okay, sorry about that. Man. Maybe you have to be in trios for that frickin'... Let me check something. Daggone, why is that so fast? What the heck did it change to? Yeah, see what the heck? That's crazy. I don't believe this crap even really works all that well in here. Voice chat is enabled. Why don't it work?
I think you will enjoy this. Let me tell you something.
Hello, can anybody hear me in this lobby?
Have you
The heck? Hmm. I need to unlock some more faces or something. Wow. Yeah. Nope. No, I don't want to accept that just yet. Hmm.
Greetings. Extraordinary. Come over here. Exemplary. How do you do? Oh, there you are.
because everybody got their brightness cranked up so high that it's nothing but gray. Wow. Whatever. Whatever, dude. What? Okay. I like how he almost hits me for almost nothing, but still knocks me with every shot. Look at this, he's literally doing it to everybody. Wow. Are you freaking serious right now? What the? How are you that far away? You can't even scope in, dude. You literally can't even scope in. How are you going to be that far away? Still, look at that. You can't even scope in. Just in case. Cause I'm serious. You cannot scope in. And from that range, we're like probably tiny little ants. Okay? So, I mean...
Ty vole.
Yeah, see, I could barely see that guy that I ended up walking right next to that was crouched, but yet everybody else can somehow see me clear as day, even if I'm partially invisible like that guy was. Like, okay, I could barely see him walking next to him. Oh, but you know, some of these other people though, no, forget about it. They can just see you clear as day. Like, okay, that makes sense. He's cheating because I used my special, and my special is to harden up like a rock, so when they shoot me, it doesn't frickin' hurt me. Okay, so he one-tapped me after I use it? Right. Because that makes sense. Pretty sure that's what it's supposed to do. We'll find out. We'll go back and read it again, but I'm pretty sure that's what it says. Wow. Okay. Didn't I just play in a match with this guy? Hmm. Okay. Oh. I would like to read this. Okay, because I think I figured out what may be going on. Hiding your skin for a brief duration, turning you fully invulnerable, as long as offense actions are not. Ah, that's what's going on. So when I use, like, if I start shooting my gun, it basically disengages like the hardening. Okay, I get it. That makes sense. Let's try trios. Excuse me. Ooh, crap. I start going towards that van while he's sucking on her, and then boom, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it." Like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Wow. Okay. Ooh, crap. Oh, yeah, that made sense. What? Are you freaking kidding me? Oh, crap. Sorry, I've been sort of quiet. I've just been more or less concentrating. Like, really concentrating, if that makes sense.
I wish you a good.
Okay, I'll be right back. Okay. Mm. Okay.
Good to see you.
Apparently I can't climb in here. Oh, okay. Where did that go? Oh, I'll put it over here. Ta-da. Hmm. Hmm. Weird. Okay. Strange. Ah, that's why. Okay. Look out. Okay. I thought that was a bit weird. Okay, now let's check. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Um, well, let me try something here. Let me try this. Oh, crap. Man. They really went all out with the details because if you look at all them veins, that's an awful lot of veins. Hmm. Okay. Funny how that works. Okay. Whee! Wait a second.
For your ears only.
Omnis welcomes you. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry about that. Had a phone call real quick. Okay. Ooh, what's this? Okay, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end this one, and I'm gonna play a little bit of this on 60 FPS and see um, if it helps with anything or if it makes anything worse. Because, like I said, I would rather have the ray tracing and everything because at least then, it's like, well, I'd be able to look into the reflections and stuff and the mirrors and whatnot and be able to see people that might be coming up on me or something. But um, sometimes it can be a little tricky, but sometimes it's like, okay, it's fine. So it's sort of a 50-50, to be honest. Now, what I mean by a 50-50 is like you might be into the game so much that you might completely forget about it. And then, other times you won't forget about it at all. Uh, so you'll be looking. So, it's sort of one of those type of things, but I'm just curious. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see maybe if I might be able to do better or worse. Because I know the resolution's not going to be as good. Um, which I find to be kind of funny, right? Because, when I was on PC, here's the thing. When I was on PC, uh, I could use a lower resolution, but the thing is if the game, I could use 1080p, right? So let's put it this way. I could do like higher ultra settings on 1080p, okay? And I could do it on this game or that game, but if I tried to do it at 1440p, then the performance would suck. Just completely be crap, basically, on some games. Like Fortnite is a good example. The game takes like almost nothing to run. I had way more than what it takes to run that game, and for some reason, I would try to play it on even high settings, and 1440p just completely blowed that performance out of the water. Like it was like, yeah, what happened to the performance? Okay, and then the game would actually try to lower the like 3D resolution, making it look even worse. Um, so it was sort of funny how it worked, right? Well, here's the thing. If I could play a game on high settings at like 1440p, well, actually, let's put it this way. If I could play a game on ultra settings uh, at 60 FPS or 30 FPS, I could put it on 30 FPS and it wouldn't make a difference because if the like let's put it this way, right? So if I were to play the game at 60 FPS and it would have real bad issues because I've got it on ultra settings, because if it was one of those type of games where it was like, oh, okay, ultra settings and it really impacts the performance, well, even if I were to lower it to 30 FPS, it didn't make a difference. It still had the same performance hit. And that's sort of what confuses me about why the PS5 and Xbox Series X can't just run all the games at 60 FPS 4K native. Because it seems kind of funny if they run pretty good, right? If they run really good at 30 FPS, 4K, ray tracing, all this, that, and the other, right? Okay, so explain to me why it can't do it at 60 FPS. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, like I said, I mean, even when I had a PC, it's like, dude, I had a pretty decent setup. I had a pretty decent rig. Okay, so why is it that I could, you know, if I put like that one specific game on ultra settings, it played like crap, and if I put it at 30 FPS, it still played like crap? How do you explain that? But yet, you mean to tell me that, you know, PS5 and Xbox Series X games that are running majority of these games at like high settings with some ray tracing enabled, you mean to tell me they can't do 60 at 4K native? Yeah, I got some news for you, but the PC that I had was way weaker than even the PS5. Now, the reason why I say that is because, okay, so the PC I had was 4 gig dedicated video, and it was the GTX 1650 Super, and it is NVIDIA, and it was the PNY version of it. Okay, so then I had 16 gigabyte of RAM, and it was DDR4, and it was plenty fast enough because it was almost 3,000 megahertz per second. So it was like, I think it was like 2,666, I think. But that's 16 gigabyte of RAM, which none of the games ever got that close. I mean, they might have went up to maybe at the max like 12 gig. So you got that. So I had the 16 gig RAM. Okay, well then the processor was, okay, now get this. Okay, so the processor was 2.96 core, hyper-threaded to be a 12-core processor. Okay, well, here's the thing. That processor was already overclocked by default, so actually I was running 3.9 gigahertz. So it was a 3.96 core, hyper-threaded to be 12 core. Okay. Now, here's the thing. The PS5 is 3.5, 8 core, hyper-threaded to be 16 core. Okay, so you would think, oh, well, that's better, right? It is, technically, because it's 3.5 by default. But I think Sony said the way they have it set up is that it could vary. So it could even go down to like 2.2 and 2.3 and so on. So it's sort of like, okay, that doesn't make sense why it would go that low, because even the PC I had was a solid 3.9 consistently. Like it was always 3.9. And it was a 6-core hyper-threaded to be 12-core, and the PS5 is an 8-core hyper-threaded to be 16-core. Now, the Xbox Series X is a, what was it? It's like 3. I believe it's like 3.7 or 3.8 8-core, or 3.6 hyper-threaded to be 16-core. Okay. So here's my thing, right? So if my PC could basically do, you know, at least 1080p with the graphics card, and it only being 4 gig dedicated video, while the PS5 and Series X is like insanely a lot more than that, because the Series X has like 10 gig and the PS5 has like 16 gig or something like that dedicated video. So I mean, you know, it's sort of like bro, and they're both GDDR6. Now my graphics card that I did have was also GDDR6. but it was only 4 gig dedicated video. And it was the 1650 Super, which was pretty fast. I mean, it's only a step down from the 1660 Super. But the thing is, you know, that 4 gig, it limited it, right? Okay. So explain to me, if I could do 1080p on a graphics card and a processor. Now you gotta remember, the processor was Intel. The processor on the PS5 and Series X are both AMD, but the thing is, you know, the graphics cards in these ones are just insanely more powerful than the one I had in my PC. So, and that's where the video of it lies mostly. Now, it lies mostly in the processor and the graphics card. But the thing is, now I did have a solid state drive in my PC that I had, so I did have a solid state drive in that. But here's the thing, right? So, if my PC that had a way weaker processor, like a way weaker, because even for some reason, like if I were to try to play, what was it? Sunset Overdrive, it would consistently pop up and say that I didn't even meet the minimum specs for the processor, and I'm like, hang on a second. You're saying the minimum is like 2.9.98, and mine is 2.9 by default, but it's overclocked to be 3.9, so why is it still popping that up? So I'm guessing the way it worked is, you know, the games would just basically use more or less the default, but some games would not work very well with the hyperthreading. So, you know, I would have to turn the hyperthreading off, which I didn't do, of course. But, you know, the thing is, though, some games just didn't work real well with hyperthreading. So the thing that confuses me, though, is, okay, so I could do 1080p, 60 FPS, high settings, with a seriously weaker graphics card that wasn't even capable of ray tracing, period, and way weaker processor, and I could do 1080p 60 on high settings or even ultra, but you're telling me that I can't do 4K at 60 FPS on the PS5 or Series X? Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, some games do that, don't get me wrong, like Far Cry 6 is 4K at 60, but there is no ray tracing. Some of these games are 4K at 60 FPS, but that's what I don't understand. Why aren't all of them? I mean, because I've seen some of the more graphical games literally be 4K at 60, and some of the less graphical games be like, you know, 4K at 30 and 1440p upscaled to 4K at 60, or even like if you take games such as like Spider-Man or Guardians of the Galaxy. Like Guardians of the Galaxy is a good example. Even on there, like performance mode itself, they run at 1080p and 60 FPS, and then performance RT, which they added in an update, is 1440p at 60. But my thing is, and that's with ray tracing. But my thing is why can't you do 4K at 60 with ray tracing? I mean, look at all these people on PC taking equivalent graphics cards doing 4K at 60 on basically, you know, high and ultra settings and still getting like 80, 90 freaking FPS at the minimum, you know? And I'm like, holy crap. And that is with ray tracing and everything too. And you could go on YouTube and look at some of the videos where people are playing these games and are still getting almost 100 FPS with 4K at 60 on a really graphical game with ray tracing enabled. But I mean, yeah, it also depends on the graphics card. But the point is you know, graphics cards that are equivalent to the one that's in the PS5 or Series X, I mean, those are some of the big boys, you know? We're talking like, I would say better than a 2080. And the reason why I want to say that is because, some of the games that are upgraded for like PS5 and stuff that were on last gen consoles may have added ray tracing or this or that, but they're using basically the settings that they would have used for like the 2080 performance wise. And I'm like, okay, so if they can do that way, why can't they take, because the thing is with something like that, you can only take it so far, right? Because it wasn't exactly made for next gen. So, it wasn't built from ground up for next gen. So, it's sort of like, well, they can only take it so far. So that's what gets me, right? Because it's like, even a 2080, man, that's a big boy, to be honest. Because, I mean, you have, I believe there is, I believe it goes 2060, 2070, 2080, and then I'm not sure what's after that, if they have a 2090 or not, but I know it goes up to like a 3090 right now. They're supposed to be coming out with like a 4050 or something, or I think there's like a 3050 one that they have now, and they're supposed to be bringing out even crazier graphics cards than the 3090. And the thing is the graphics card that I would say that would be closest to say a PS5, since it's got the 16 gig, is, I want to say it would be closer to a 3080. Mainly because I think anything below a 3080, I think is like 12 gig dedicated video or less, and so I think like a 3070, I think would be 12 gig, or maybe it could be the 3080 that's 12 gig. I could look this up real fast. Let me check real quick. Let's see, an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080 Ti. Let's see, a 3080 would be GDDR6. It is, says it came out in 2021. Oh, here we go. So it costs like $699 for the GeForce RTX 3080, starting at $699. Let's see. Most realistic and immersive graphics, second gen ray tracing, game ready drivers, so on and so on. Let's see. 4K, highest game settings, Ryzen 9 5950X, 32 gigabyte RAM, Windows 10 x64 RTX on is RT plus DLSS performance. 10 series is RT only, not capable of DLSS, like the 1080 Ti. I'm trying to find. Here's the specs. Here we go. Okay, so yeah, a 3080 Ti is 12 gigabyte dedicated video, and RTX 3080 is 12 gig slash 10 gigabyte. But it looks like the CUDA cores are better in the RTX 3080 Ti, even though the boost clock is better in the regular RTX 3080. They're both GDDR6X. So my thing is Let me see, because I know the 3090, the 3090 I think is 24 gig dedicated. Let me check real quick here. Here we go. Okay. And this one is capable of 8K HDR, but yeah, the 3090 Ti or the 3090 is both 24 gigabyte dedicated video. So, and I'm pretty sure the PS5 is like 16 gig dedicated video, because the Xbox Series X is like 10 gig. Yeah, so, yeah, so it's, so I feel like that it would be better than a 3080, but not as good as a 3090. But here's the thing. If you, let's say, let me look and see. I want to check something. Okay, here we go. I'm going to check something. What is the PS5 GPU equivalent? Here we go. Okay, so, the PS5, here's what I'm reading here, but I'm not completely sure. It says the PS5, okay, that seems about right, has a GPU clock of 2,233 megahertz, a memory clock of 1750 megahertz, and 16 gigabyte of memory. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I was right. I thought I was right. So what is it equivalent to? The NVIDIA, what is the PS5 GPU equivalent to? Okay, so that can't be right, because these people are saying that the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2070 is the graphics card that comes closest to the PS5. So they're not saying that it's equivalent to it, but they're saying it comes close to the PS5's GPU, but the PS5's GPU is still better. The RTX. Okay, let me see what everybody else says. Okay. I'm trying to see. Yeah, see, this one is saying the PS5 whizzing along at 4.5 gigapixels, which is over 45% faster than the RTX 2080 on 3.1 gigapixels. The comparison test also demonstrates just how far ahead this now current generation console is compared to the previous gen machines. Let me check here. Is PS5 GPU better than 2080 Ti? It's obvious the PS5 is superior than a RTX 2080. PS5 is native 4K with 60 FPS with ray tracing on, with Cold War, which is more demanding. in COD 2019, so don't believe anyone who says PS5 is on RTX 2080 or below. It's not. It's even beating the RTX 2080 Ti. Yeah, so it's sort of all over the place, but here we go. Let's look at this one here. Let me check. Okay, so this guy says I paid $1,400 for my 3700X RTX 3070 build, and that is nothing. Why? Because I can make money with it. PS5 is good, but consoles will never be on the same level as PCs. PCs will always perform better and be cheaper because you can work with one and you don't need to be a streamer. That's not completely true because I got some news for you, but yeah, PC can perform better. Most of the time if you have lower settings, or lower resolutions, or lower something or another, you know? Like when I had a PC, 1080p, 60 FPS, at high settings majority of the time, and every once in a while I could do. Oh, but here's the problem, right? Fortnite plays 10 times better on a PS5 or Series X than what it does on a PC. Now let me explain. So here's the thing. If you take Fortnite, take away the ray tracing and all that crap, right? On a PC, like I did with mine, because mine was not capable of ray tracing. Oh, but the PS5 and Series X is, right? So there's no ray tracing, lower resolution, because on PS5 and Series X, Fortnite is basically ray traced, Unreal Engine 5, 4K at 60 FPS or even 120. Oh, but guess what? If I put mine, when I had the PC, if I were to put it at ultra settings, the game played like complete dog crap. Now, here's the thing. If I was to compare that PC, when it comes to like Fortnite, if I was to compare it, it would have been closer to like an Xbox One or PS4 when it comes to performance. So on high settings, that would be basically PS4 or Xbox One. Now, with ultra settings, that would be PS5 or Series X. Now, here's the thing, okay? So if you take away the ray tracing and all this other crap, and only use high settings, and you're still only capable of 1080p at 60, and it might perform pretty freaking well, but it might perform a little bit better, but you also got to remember you're sacrificing a lot. One, you're sacrificing a 4K image, ray tracing, all the extra graphical features, making the game look way better. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you're losing a lot of stuff for a tad, just a tad performance difference. Okay, so a tad performance difference, and you're going to tell me somehow the PC performs better. Yeah, okay. That makes sense, considering that the processor that I had was double what was recommended for Fortnite. The graphics card was double what was recommended for Fortnite. The RAM was a double what was recommended for friggin' Fortnite. So, I mean, come on now. Are you kidding me right now? And this guy says PS5 performs like a 2080 and 3700X. Now we have results. Run Cold War 4K 60 effortlessly. Very impressive. That doesn't make sense. Like, I don't get it. See? Even this guy, now this sort of makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, definitely worth it. I have PS5, Series X, and a PC with a 3080 in it, which is the one I was talking about. Upgrading to a 3090 for workstation and UE4, and the PS5 definitely trades blows with them. Okay, so you're telling me the PS5 trades blows with a 3080. Now here's the thing. The PS5 will technically be able to do better graphics because, well, the 3080 is only 12 gig, while the PS5 is 16 gig dedicated video. So here's the thing. If you take the 16 gig dedicated video compared to the 12 gig, you can add more graphics. See what I'm saying? And it says, definitely trades blows with him. I've noticed better frame rates on the PS5. Huh. But same visuals as the Series X. I have a 1440p, 144 Hz for my 3080, and a 4K 60 for consoles. I cannot recommend next-gen consoles enough, 100% worth it. Even if you don't have a 4K or high refresh rate screen, the visual upgrade is still hugely noticeable. That's what this person said. So, yeah, I mean, the guy is even more or less saying what I was basically saying, right? So it's like, okay, so they're basically saying that, this guy's like, hey, it's sort of like the 3080, trade blows with that. So, I mean, and then this one, there's no way this is right. Ah, okay, that makes sense. And the NVIDIA RTX 2070 Super offers 9 teraflops, which technically the PlayStation 5 has more than 9 teraflops. Okay, see, now that sort of makes sense. Uh, so I'm starting to kind of understand why Sony and them are like, hey, look, we're gonna do like all the developers of the games are like, hey, we're gonna do 1440p with ray tracing, or 4K with ray tracing, but 30 FPS instead of 60. But it's confusing because even the 1440p with ray tracing should be better ray tracing. It should be the same ray tracing as the 4K ray tracing. But this person says the same is the case with the RTX 2070 Super. While it can surely run some games at 4K 60 FPS, it is more fitting to use this graphics card at 1440p 120 FPS or 1440p 60 FPS with ray tracing turned on. And that's for the older 2070 Super, I guess. Because that's for the first generation, because it says the first generation RT cores are good enough to give you a taste of ray tracing, and DLSS allows you to get a boost in frame rate when you need it. So basically, considering that I would imagine the PS5's RT cores are probably not first generation. How does the PS5 graphics card compare in the real world? Okay. So, because here's my thing, right? If it can support 8K at 60 FPS, you mean to tell me it can't do 4K 60 FPS with ray tracing? I totally understand if you're trying to do 8K at 60 FPS and it can't do ray tracing. I totally get that. But 4K at 60 FPS with ray tracing? Come on now. You're telling me that the PS5 and Series X can do 8K at 60 FPS with HDR, but no, it can't do 4K native at 60 FPS with ray tracing? Are you joking right now? Yeah, because that totally makes sense. And the reason why I say that is because even when I had a PC, the biggest performance hits that I ever took was with the resolution. So I could play a game on higher ultra settings. If I raised it even just slightly, just one notch higher, it played still decently. But if I went to like 1200p or higher, you're hilarious. Performance completely took a dump. And if I tried to do it at 1440p, yeah, no, it took a dump on performance, like big time. So just going from 1080p to 1440p or even 1200, it took a complete dump. Literally. Going literally above like 1138 or whatever the heck it was, literally going above that, it literally took a complete dump on performance. So my thing is okay, so why can't we do 4K at 60 again? I mean, if you're trying to tell with ray tracing, if you're trying to tell me that the machine is capable of 8K, I'm just saying. I mean, because 4K, 8K, that is double the resolution. Okay, that is a lot higher. That's basically taking two 4Ks and shoving them together. So imagine this, right? So I believe it is 3840 by 2160 for 4K. Now imagine adding 3840 by 2160 on top of that, okay? Yeah. But no, you can't do 4K 60 with ray tracing. What are you, joking? Okay, here we go. Well, that ain't right, period. You're so full of crap on that. Trying to tell me the freaking PS5 runs The Witcher 3, a last-gen game, at 55 FPS instead of a solid 60. Ha! They're hilarious. Even Assassin's Creed Valhalla, 36 FPS. Oh, wait. Actually, The Witcher 3, 30 FPS, PS5. Uh, Assassin's Creed Valhalla 60 FPS, PS5. Metro Exodus 60 FPS, 3. Oh yeah, that right there. That game alone, okay, that is one of the most graphical games. Okay, native 4K, 60 FPS, full ray tracing. We're talking shadows, reflections, the whole nine. Okay, so it's fully ray traced, including the lighting. It's fully ray traced. Okay, so you mean to tell me you could take one of the most graphical games that's out, slap frickin' full ray tracing on it, 4K native at 60 FPS? Are you joking me? Oh, but you can't do it for, other games. It's not even, it's not even as close graphically. Like, are you joking me right now? Okay, so let me... So yeah, some people are basically saying the RTX 2070, RTX 2070 Super, RTX 3080, RTX 3080 Ti. I mean, come on now. So it's sort of all over the place, but I think it's more closer to a 3080. Mainly because you got to remember the 2070. I don't even think it is even close to 16 gig dedicated video, because you got to remember, it's not just about how fast the graphics card is. It's also how many gigabyte dedicated it is. Because the problem that I had wasn't the speed. Period. Like, my problem that I had when I had a PC was just the 4 gig limitation. Okay, so let me see what an RTX 2070 is gigabyte wise dedicated, because I'm pretty sure it's like as far as I can tell, I think it's 8 gig. Um, let me check. Let me check. Okay, so yeah, 8 gigabyte. 8 gigabyte GDDR6. Now you're telling me somehow the RTX 2070 Founders Edition is somehow close, is basically what a PS5's graphics card is, even though the PS5's graphics card is 16 gigabyte dedicated video, and the 2070 RTX Founders Edition is only 8 gigabyte. See, here's my thing. I personally think if you compare the PS5 graphics card with an actual graphics card, it's going to be somewhere in between the 3080 and the 3090. Now, if you take the Xbox Series X graphics card, it's going to be not right there with the 3080. And the reason why I say that is because they do actually make 10 gigabyte graphics cards. So let me try to find one actually. 20. Let's try this one. So I'm looking at the RTX 2080, and it is. Try to find it here. So the 2080 would be. That ain't right. Oh yeah, that's right. That ain't it. Okay, this one is though. That one was just a 20 series. This one is the 2080, and it is also 8 gigabyte. So let's try a step up from that one. Let's see for. Okay, let's try. Okay, so I want to assume the Series X would be closer to, without finding a direct comparison, would be like the RTX 2080 Ti. That one is 11 gigabyte dedicated video. And like I said, the Series X is only 10 gig. So even that one is slightly better. But let's check one more actually, because I'm thinking just maybe. What about this one? What about this one? Do 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 do. Do, 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 do. Nope, not that one. No, not the super. Not that one. Let's try. Okay, let's look at this one. Let's check this one real fast. What about this one? Wow. Okay, so not that one either. Man. Okay. So it's not that one because that one's got 2 gigabyte more. Does this one exist? Oh, yeah, it does. Here we go. Let's check this one. This one might be the one. Maybe. Nope. Okay, so... no. Okay, so, it looks like... the one that I could find that is technically slightly better than the Series X would be okay, what's going on here? Let me see. I think I typed in the wrong one. Oh no. So the RTX. Let me look at this one real fast. Oh, here we go. The one that I could find that would be as close to the Series X would be the GeForce RTX 2080 Ti. So I want to say the Series X is in between the 2080 and the 2080 Ti somewhere. So it's like in between those. Because the Ti is 11 gig GDDR6, while the regular 2080 is 8 gig. So it's like in between the 2080 and 2080 Ti. Now, if you look at the PS5 at 16 gigabyte dedicated video, it would be in between the 3080 and the 3090 because the 3080 is 12 gig, the 3090 is 24 gig. So it'd be like, you know, in between there. So technically, they're able to do a bit better graphics on the PS5 if they wanted to, if they chose to, because of the fact that they have more room to work with. Because it's not really all about the speed, because, you know, the speeds of all those types of graphics cards, they're all very, very similar. I'm not joking. Like, if you go on and look at each one, it's like, yeah, they're all similar. So, with speed-wise. So, the only other thing that really trying to freaking pronounce it, differentiates, or whatever, however the heck you want to. Basically, the difference, the main thing that makes it different from the other ones is just how big the gigabyte is, mainly. Because, like I said, most of them are just very similar. When it comes to the bigger boys like that, man, they're just all very similar in speed. The biggest difference between them is literally just 8 gigabyte dedicated, 10 gigabyte dedicated, 11, 12, 16, 24, you know what I mean? It's just basically that. That's really the only difference. That's really the biggest difference because, like I said, the speeds are very similar between all of them. I mean, and the reason why I say that is because if you look at the graphics card that I had, which is the 1650 Super, yeah, no, the overclock by default would go clear up to like 19 something for speed. And I'm sitting there looking at some of these bigger boys that are capable of ray tracing. Oh, yeah, 17. Okay, well, is that with or without overclock? Because the thing is even GTX 1650 Super is like 1725 or 1750 without overclock. So, I mean, just saying, they're all, you know, similar in speeds. So the biggest difference would be mainly how many gigabyte dedicated video each one of them is. That is the biggest difference. But here's the thing, right? So when I was on PC, if my graphics card had more than enough like gigabyte free, so it was a 4 gig dedicated video card. If it only required a couple gig, I could just do that game on. I mean, it would look great. It would play great. I mean, it would look great mostly, but um, the thing is if you were to take like a regular 2 gig, it may not look as good. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you could take a 2 gig versus a 4 gig dedicated video card with basically the same speeds, and because it has 2 gig less, even if the game requires or says recommended 2 gig, well, it's still not going to look as good as what it would if you had the 4 gig. It's weird, but it's true, because there were some games that I had that said, hey, we recommend 4 gig dedicated video, right? Well, and we're talking NVIDIA and everything, and I had way more than everything, everything else. I had more than everything else. So I had plenty of crap to run it, but it would say recommended 4 gig. Well, in some cases it would look fine. In other cases it would be like, it wants more gigabyte because it says it's recommending 4 gig. But then you go and like Grand Theft Auto 5, for instance, or Call of Duty, not Cold War, but Call of Duty Warzone. Like, take Call of Duty Warzone, for instance. Well, sort of looks like crap on 4 gig dedicated video, but the thing is you look at the settings, right, and it's like, holy crap, because you can go clear up to like 10 or 12 or 16 gig friggin' dedicated video or something like that on there, and I'm like, okay, so it recommends this, but when you turn the game on and it's like, hey, look, here's your choices, you got, like a choice between like 4 gig, 6 gig, 8 gig, 10 or 12 gig or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's like the more gigabyte you had free, so it's like, well, if you had a 12 gig card, you would get like the best graphics on it, right? So you would get the best graphics. So if you had a 4 gig, you would probably get the worst graphics on it. So if you take like Warzone, for instance, if you have a 4 gig dedicated video card, you're most likely going to be playing at low settings. And okay, so if you have a like a 10 or 12 gig card, well, then you can do high settings. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, the more gigabyte free, the better you can do the graphics. Which is why, one reason why the PS5 outperforms the Xbox Series X, because the Series X, they give you 10 gigabyte dedicated, while the PS5 gives you 16 gigabyte dedicated. And Microsoft says that they've complained about, we don't know why PS5 works so much better. Why the performance is better? Well, you remember when you guys came out with the original Xbox 360, you decided to do 256 dedicated video, and Epic Games came along making Gears of War, telling you guys, hey, it looks like crap and plays like crap on 256 dedicated video. We need 512 dedicated video for this to work and look decent. What did Microsoft do? They re-released the Xbox 360 in an arcade form and with HDMI and all that crap. And what did they do? They upgraded the graphics from 256 to 512 dedicated video. So why did they have to do that? Well, to get the game to look decent and to perform decent. Okay, so you mean to tell me after all of these years of Gears of War being out, okay, you guys have no idea why the PS5 outperforms the Series X? Oh, I don't know, 16 gigabyte dedicated video on PS5, while Series X has, oh, I don't know, 10 gig? I wonder. I'm just curious, but I'm wondering. You know what I mean? It's like, I wonder. Right? You see what I'm saying here? I'm pretty sure there's some of you guys will be like, oh, I get it. Because you got to remember, if they couldn't get Gears of War to play or look decent on 256 dedicated video, and they had to bump it up to 512 to do it, dedicated video, okay. So wouldn't common sense tell Microsoft, oh, we went through this before. We had to bump up the dedicated video in our Xbox 360 to get the game to look decent and actually play decent. So if the PS5 has 16 gig dedicated video and the Xbox Series X has 10 gigabyte dedicated video, why would Microsoft be sitting there saying, oh, they're complaining about how the PS5 outperforms the Xbox Series X and they have no idea why? I got an idea. Maybe it's the fact that you only got 10 gig dedicated video while the PS5 has 16 gig. Just saying. I mean, considering that you guys already went through this sort of the same situation before with Gears of War and the Xbox 360, knowing that 256 wasn't going to be good enough for that game to run and look good, that you had to add more, dedicated video, because you went from 256 and you doubled it to 512. It's common sense that tells you that, right? I mean, why would you guys even ask that question? Why would Microsoft seriously ask that question? Ooh, we have no idea why. I do. Let me explain. On PC, like I said, Call of Duty Warzone, for instance, if you want, the better looking version of the game, you kind of have to have like friggin' I was like 8 to like 12 gig dedicated video card. We're talking about a 2019 game here. Okay, and then the Xbox Series X didn't even exist yet. Okay, so if you imagine if it takes that much to run that older of a game than the Xbox Series X before it even came out, what makes you think that only adding 2 gig of dedicated extra video, because let's say it's 8 gig to run that game pretty good, right? And get it to look good, okay? Let's say it's 8 gig. 10 gigabyte. Okay, so that's 2 extra gig. For next-gen games, upgraded next-gen games and stuff. Yeah, and think about it this way, right? Warzone's not even upgraded. It's still just PS4 and Xbox One versions. Okay? So stop and think about it, right? If you're only going to add 2 more gigabyte and then you expect games that look look way better than that to play better on the Series X than the PS5, when the PS5 clearly has 16 gig, yeah, they added, how many gig would that be? Let's see. Oh, that's right, it would be 8 gigabyte more, because 8 and 8 is 16. So if you take 8 and you double that, well, there you go. But if you take 8 and you just go from 8 to 10, and expect it to play, next-gen upgrades, or actual native next-gen games, you expect it to play better than the PS5? Yeah. You know the problem with that, right? When you only make it go from 8 to 10, I'm just pointing out the obvious, but, 8 gigabyte, 10 gigabyte for an older game. Yeah, Modern Warfare ought to work pretty good on there. But a next-gen game, probably not going to work as good as the PS5, because the PS5 has double the freaking gigabyte. So if you take, as Warzone, because Warzone, let's say, 8 gigabyte for, the highest settings and all that crap. So 8 gigabyte. You add another 8 gigabyte, that's 16 gig. Clearly, Sony was prepared because it's like, okay, so we're going to double it. We're going to make it 16 gigs, so that way we can actually do the next gen games with pretty good, graphics and performance. Microsoft says, oh no, we're just going to go to 10 gig and expect to beat the PS5 because our system somehow on paper has better crap in it. No, that's not completely true because if you look at the Series X's freaking crap and then you look at the PS5 crap, it's only a slight boost, except for the graphics card. So let me explain this, okay? So the graphics card is where the Microsoft machine, Xbox Series X, has the issue. It is only 10 gigabyte. The PS5 is 16 gigabyte. Okay, right there's the issue. You upgrade that, oh, well, the games will most likely be fixed. They'll probably work better, and they'll probably, and now the reason why I say that is because here's the thing. So between Series X and PS5, games kind of suck on Series X. The reason why is because there's so many visual glitches, this, that, and the other going on. And then you got like PS5, and it's like, what's up? We ain't got this issue. You know why we ain't got this issue? Oh, well, we got 16 gigabyte dedicated video. You guys might have slightly better crap in your system, slightly more. But that gigabyte is where it's at. Because on paper, the Series X is slightly better in terms of hardware. But that's my point. It can be slightly better in hardware, except for the graphics, because the graphics on the PS5 is 16 gigabyte dedicated, and then the Series X is only 10. You see what I'm saying? So on paper, everything is slightly better on the Series X, except for the fact that it's only 10 gig, not 16 gig, like the PS5. So that is where Microsoft needs to apply a better, more gigabyte to it if they expect it to basically outperform the PS5. So the way it would outperform the PS5 is if they actually put 16 gigabyte dedicated video in it. If they did that, it probably would outperform the PS5, mainly because everything else is slightly better in it. Now, the thing is, though, here's the bad thing, okay? So, here's the thing, okay? So, with PS5, it is 3.5 8-core hyper-threaded to 16-core, okay? That's it. Now, with the Series X, it has two different ones. It has the 3.7 or I believe like 3.7 8 no wait 3.7 or 3.8 8 core by itself, or 3.6 8 core hyper threaded to 16 core. Okay, well, here's the thing about that, right? So if they use just the regular 8 core without the hyperthreading, it's only using 7 of those cores for the game, not the whole 8. Now, if you have it hyperthreaded to 16 core, and it's an 8 core processor, it's going to use all 8 cores, not just 7. Which is why you might see one game may actually slightly play better on the Series X than what it would on the PS5. Now, the reason behind that is, well, most likely they're using the 3.6 8-core hyper-threaded to 16-core. Now, the reason why I say that is because, yeah, it's slightly better on it, so it may give you slightly better performance. So, like on this game, it might give you 60 FPS, drop down to 55 FPS. And then on the PS5, it might be 60 FPS, and drop down to 50 FPS. Why? Well, that slightly faster, well, slightly more processor speed. Well, not exactly speed, but it's 3.6 instead of like 3.5 or whatever. I could be wrong on these, but I'm pretty sure the PS5 is like 3.5 8-core 16 thread, and the Series X is 3.6 8-core 16 thread, or 3.7 or 3.8 8-core. But either way, though, if you think about it, one game might give you one or two better FPS on the Series X than it would the PS5. Why? Okay, well, the main reason is because, well, that processor is 3.6 8-core 16 thread, and that could be the one that they're using compared to the 3.5 6 or 8-core 16 thread. You see what I'm saying? So that could potentially give you one or two better FPS. So why are most of the games not performing as well as the PS5? Okay, because a lot of those games could be using just the 8-core and only using 7 cores, while the PS5 is using all 8 cores and in the 16 threads. So you got to put that in effect too. So between that and the graphics, yeah, it's kind of common sense. I mean, it's not that hard to add up. I'm just your normal old person, so I mean, if I can figure that out, especially with me not exactly being all there and this, that, and the other, and like ADD and this, that, and the other, you know what I mean? Like, I do have some issues. I do have, I'm not all there. It is hard for me to explain certain things. But that's my point. If somebody like me can figure that out, why can't somebody as smart as Microsoft figure that out? I mean, considering that they've already went through a similar situation before with the Xbox 360, as I said, with Gears of War, where they had to go from 256 to 512 dedicated video because, well, that's the only way the game would work decent and look good. I mean, when you put 10 gigabyte versus 16, yeah, I'm pretty sure the 16 gigabyte dedicated video is going to outperform the freaking 10 gig any day of the week. Now, on top of that, you have to also remember, with Sony, they could do the 4K native at 30 FPS, and then, like performance modes are usually 1440p, 1800p, 1573, or somewhere around there, while the Series X might be slightly higher. So when they're doing the slightly higher resolution with less crap, you know what I mean? It kind of makes sense if you think, well, why does the Series X have so many issues compared to the PS5? Well, there's your answer. All three answers right there. 3 different answers right there. Common sense. If I can figure it out, why can't Microsoft? But yeah, anyways, though, I'm going to go ahead and end the video. I've been rambling on about all this crap for a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end it for now. And check a couple things and play a little bit of this at 60 FPS and whatnot. And yeah. But if you guys enjoyed the video and you enjoyed the whole rambling on thing and this, that, and the other, why don't you give it a big fat thumbs up and maybe subscribe. If you do, please turn your post notifications on so you know when I go live, do videos, and so on. Thanks for watching. Have a great night and have a blessed night and day, and I'll catch you later.